just like that started. Science editor Steve Newman reports on one person already using the brand new system.
What is up, guys? My name is Nicholas Curso. Welcome back to another video, and welcome to the 416 podcast, episode 3. Just want to get some things out of the way while we begin this video. There's a couple things that happened this week, and of course, there had to be another great hockey player in the world that passes away, unfortunately, and it was Guy Lafleur. And unfortunately, Guy Lafleur has passed away at the age of 70. He was battling lung cancer for quite a while, for quite some time now. We've all kind of known. And it got him, and he unfortunately passed away a couple days back, just before the shooting of this podcast. But just want to take a moment to look back to Guy Lafleur's career and just kind of see some of the things he did, because, man, you had Mike Bossy last week, and then unfortunately Guy Lafleur as well passed away. But in my eyes, Guy Lafleur was much more well known in the hockey community than Mike Bossy, but I would say they had an even amount of being well known in the hockey industry. So take a look at Guy Lafleur, the famous 10. This guy was a monster. 560 goals, 793 assists, 1,353 points. Just insanity. He's broken so many records, won many cups with the Montreal Canadiens, and just an absolute Habs legend. So rest in peace, Guy Lafleur, and prayers and wishes sent from me to your families. Another thing I just wanted to bring up, I know it's kind of hard to bring this up in the beginning of the podcast and start off on a little bit of a darker note, but this was the 4th year, just yesterday, that they commemorated the Toronto Yonge Street van attack. Remembering 2018, that huge van attack that killed multiple people or murdered multiple people. And they had a vigil online just to remember some of the victims. And again, thoughts, prayers, wishes to all the families and to all the people who were in that attack. And it's just good to see Toronto just showing some love to some of the people, especially that were in the van attack when it happened. So, thoughts and wishes. But let's start with the good stuff that we're going to get into right now. First thing to bring up today, we have Netflix kind of taking a jab at some of the people that are using the app. Netflix is making an approach to actually get rid of the password sharing. Now, I heard of this, and obviously, I'm an avid person or user of doing that, especially with Disney Plus, especially with Netflix. Yeah, sharing passwords, doing all that stuff, just so that, when you go to your friend's house, your buddy's house, you don't have to log into your account or buy an account like for Netflix, Crave TV, Hulu, all that sorts of stuff. And you could just use your buddy's password, and then vice versa. You have an account and they don't use their password, they use your password, and just kind of how the cycle completes itself, and you save each other a little bit more money down the road. Well, that is what Netflix is looking to get rid of. So Netflix is going to be doing their daggone best to get rid of password sharing. I'm just going to search up what they said, because actually it was pretty interesting to see what they had to say. So they're finally going after password sharing. Oh, it's taking a second to load here. What's happening? Okay, there we go. Nope. Okay, NBC is not allowing me. Okay, we're going to move on from that, because apparently for some reason NBC is saying no. But yeah, password sharing is going to be taken down, or they're going to try to find a way to get rid of it, just so that they're not losing because they're losing a lot of money with password sharing Netflix. And I think they've finally figured it out, a way that they can get rid of this problem. And it's going to be unfortunate for a lot of people who do that, because now you're going to have to start paying for Netflix if you want to watch those greatest and latest shows that are coming out. And trust me, I know there's a lot of good stuff coming out. Stranger Things, Then you have Outer Banks coming out as well pretty soon. So if you're one of those people that doesn't have Netflix, and I know Euphoria is a big one as well, and I'm sure they're going to be coming up with stuff too soon. You gotta get an account, because Netflix is going to do their best to get rid of this stuff. So that's going to be an issue for a lot of users, especially who are sharing passwords. But hopefully it doesn't catch on to other networks, because this could really catch on to Disney Plus and Amazon. Like, this could become a massacre for password sharers, especially me, who's someone who does that already. So that would not be fun. Please, Netflix, find a way to just keep the way it is, but I know they will get rid of it anyways. One thing I wanted to bring up, and there's a lot of talk about the NBA right now. And the NBA playoffs are currently taking place. Last episode, I talked with Nick Fazio just a little bit about it, the predictions, what we were going to say, and what's going to happen for the NBA playoffs. Let's just say both of our predictions aren't going too good right now. Just a recap on some of that. So we'll take and I'll do a little bit of a recap and what my general consensus is of both of all the series in the NBA. And then I'll say what my picks actually were. If I can actually find that NBA bracket challenge, I'll probably be able to find them and then just kind of compare. Yeah, I got them right here. But yeah, let's just start with the first one. So Miami right now and the Atlanta Hawks, the 1-8. Miami leads the series 2-1. Now, I had this series going to 7, and I think Nick had it going to 5. Honestly, I have a lot of respect for the Atlanta Hawks. I think they're a very, very good team, and I do still see this going to 7. Like 2-1, this is going to go to 7 games. I think Trae Young can definitely be a pain in the butt, especially playing on home court in Atlanta. If they get Capella back, it becomes a big danger for them. For Miami. And with Kyle Lowry going down with an injury, Kyle Lowry is one of those guys, doesn't get really recognized until he's not on the court. And I think that's going to be a big, big issue for this team. They really need to find a way to keep him healthy, because he is a big leadership player for the Miami Heat, but not as big as a guy as Clint Capella, because, it's Clint Capella. He's a big, big player for the Atlanta Hawks. He's been in the playoffs before with them, and he's gone to those playoff spots. So it has to be a 7-game series. But I could see Miami running away with this in the next 2 games and just running out 4-1. So that's my theory on that. This series took a dramatic turn. Boston and Brooklyn, 2 versus 7. I said Brooklyn was going to win this one in 6. It is 3-0 Boston right now. Now, I didn't want to admit this in the video while I was doing with Nick Fazio, because probably would have gone punked. I did think there was a possibility that Boston can win this series. 6 games is the reason I said that. I do think Boston is a little bit different this year. Especially with Marcus Smart being the defensive player of the year, and their stats across the board defensively. When they have Tatum in the lineup, how scary they are as a team. I do think Boston is a very, very good group this year, and they're showing it against Brooklyn. They are showing up Kevin Durant and just telling him who's boss. And I think Boston would really love nothing more than to get swept last year, come back this year, play Brooklyn again. This time they're the 2 seed, and sweep Brooklyn right back. So that would be a dream scenario for the Boston Celtics. But I do think that the Boston Celtics are not going to sweep the Brooklyn Nets. I do think Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons, I think Ben Simmons could actually play a game, or maybe next game. But I do think Durant and Irving will steal 1 or 2 from the Celtics. I'm going to say this series ends in 5. Boston's just got this one in the bag. I believe they do. Then you got Chicago versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, at the time of this video, they're currently playing right now. And it is currently 56-41 in favor of Milwaukee. Milwaukee currently has a 2-1 series lead. And I said this game would end in 5 for Milwaukee. I still think I'm going to be correct on that. I don't think it's going to change very drastically between Milwaukee and Chicago. Chicago still won game, but that wasn't a good game from the Milwaukee Bucks. They just weren't playing as a unit. They weren't themselves. I don't think Milwaukee has really looked themselves all this season, the championship team they once were. But if they could find that playoff hunger and just keep going with that, then I do think they will easily come out and win in 5 games against the Chicago Bulls. So I do think it's still going to go in 5. This next one. I'm sorry, Raptors. I don't know what happened. To be honest, it's kind of a shell shock that the Raptors came out and lost this. To be fair, I do have the Raptors in this bracket and winning in 7. So that's my prediction for this. I do believe I said they're winning this game this in 5, but I did say Toronto in 7. So that's good to actually see that I said Toronto in 7. Yeah. Could the Raptors potentially? Yes. Everyone's mind right now, yes. They could potentially come back and win this in 7 games and upset Doc Rivers and make Doc Rivers the only coach in NBA history to lose after being up 3-0, which would just be another Doc Rivers move. But I don't think Joel Embiid is going to lose past 6 games. I don't see it. I see the vision in my head right now. I see Toronto going into Philadelphia tomorrow, or the day this video will be posted on Monday. So tonight, I see him going there tonight and losing at home court to the Toronto Raptors. I see Van Vliet coming back, playing, having a monster game. Scotty Barnes having a monster game defensively and offensively. Pascal having a mediocre night. Possibly Gary Trent having a mediocre night. And then Anunoby having a monster day. And just grinding out another win. But then I see them coming back for Game 6. I see Embiid having a perfect night. I see some clutch shots coming from Maxey, some speed from him as well. James Harden, Harris bringing the fire. And I see the Sixers winning this in 6 now. I think if Toronto wanted to win this series, they had to win Game 3. They had to win Game 3. That was the chance. They had their shot. Embiid with that monster shot. But that shot should have never gone off because that was just a bad defensive play by Precious Achiuwa and Anunoby on their part. Crisscrossing, and they both got flip-flopped. Van Vliet was there, but it was already too late. The shot was already taken by Embiid. So they should have won Game 3, and this would have been 2-2 right now going into Game 5. But it's 3-1, and I just don't see the Raptors coming back. So sorry, Raps fans, and I'm a Raptors fan myself, of course, so I would love to see them come back and win this in 7, but I just don't see it happening. Phoenix leads the Pelicans 2-1 as of right now, and what did I have this? I said this in 4, and the only reason I had this in 4 is because who in their mind thought Devin Booker was going to get injured in this series? I did not. I didn't think so. Devin Booker's always been a guy that's pretty healthy, hasn't had a lot of injuries in his career. And all of a sudden, whoop-de-doo gets injured, and now the Suns got to win without Devin Booker, who is possibly one of their best players, if not their best. But I would still crown CP3 as their best. I still see, you know what, I'm going to say in 6 now. I see the Suns struggling a little bit, especially if they find a way, the Pelicans, to get Brandon Ingram really hot shooting-wise. And I think the Pelicans could definitely do some damage. I don't see them winning this series unless they get Zion some way. But Zion's out for the year anyway, so there's no way that's happening. I definitely want the Suns to win this one, and I see them winning in 6 now. Although I would have loved them to just sweep the Pelicans, but I don't see it happening. Here's another one that is it's not grinding my gears. It's just like, I can't believe that Memphis has actually done so bad in this scenario. But I kind of predicted it, right? I think Minnesota's still going to win this in 7. I think it's going to go to Game 7. Minnesota is going to have an awesome playoffs. Anthony Edwards, Pat Bev. I love this team. This team is really fun to watch. Reminds me of a young Maple Leaf team once ago. Memphis Grizzlies, you have Ja Morant. Of course, you're the second seed. You had some of the best stats in the league. But I just see Minnesota winning. I see them winning. I see them taking them down. And I would love nothing more for them to take down the Memphis Grizzlies. And there's actually two podcasters on ESPN who were talking about this the other day. And obviously the Memphis man was talking up his team, and the Golden State Warriors fan was talking up his team. Who's the better team right now to win the chip? I still say Golden State, but I still think Milwaukee will win it at the end. But I love Minnesota. Minnesota for this series. Game 7, yes, it's still happening. 2-2 tied right now. I don't think they play tonight. If I'm not wrong, they do not play tonight. No, they don't play tonight. So they won't play today. They'll play on Monday. But that'll be a fun game to watch. And anyone who loves basketball, watch that series, man. It's some good basketball. Memphis versus Minnesota. It's a good series. Speaking of which, not a good series. Denver down 3-0 to the Golden State Warriors. This is going to end in a sweep. I didn't want to believe that it was going to end in a sweep. But after watching these last couple of games, Jokic is on his own. And I feel so bad for Jokic. I said Jokic before. I apologize. It's Jokic. I just don't see Denver winning a game now. I thought Jokic would steal a game in the first or second. I don't think going down 3-0, Jokic can steal game 4, especially against the Warriors. The Warriors have something different compared to the 76ers. And that's just playoff power. That's something that the 76ers haven't learned yet. Because they've gone to the conference finals. They've played in those games. But at the same time, this is a Warriors team that has Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, who have won championships. And that's something Embiid has never been in a position to do. He's never been in a position to close out a series as drastic as the Warriors have in the past. I know the Warriors have always given up playoff leads in the past, but this team now with Pooley and oh my goodness, they are just too darn good to lose this series. And even to win this series in 5 now. I'm saying this is a sweep. This series is done. Dallas and Utah next. This is a really fun series. Nick Fazio, who's actually a fan of the Dallas Mavericks, loves this team to death, and he knows they're going to beat the Utah Jazz. I hope so too. I really hope they beat Utah. I'm not a big fan of the Jazz. I don't know. They've just never been a team that I've really admired. And I said Dallas in 7. I do think this is still going 7 games. I think Luka will have a massive game 7 against the Jazz. I do believe one of these games is being played tonight, actually. And I think Golden State has the chance to close out the Denver Nuggets. So yeah, at the time of this video, you'll actually know if Denver was knocked out or Golden State is going to a deciding game 5. My prediction is that it is going to be a sweep. And at the time of this video, Denver will be out of the playoffs. And Jokic pretty much, he's by himself. That's really all he could do. Miami, on the other hand, I do think they'll go up 3-1. But don't count out Ice Trae. And if Ice Trae somehow finds a way to make it happen and they're tied 2-2 at the time of this video, so be it. I think it's possible. Phoenix and the Pelicans. I just want to go over this just in case I am incorrect about this at the time of this video. But 20 points up now, the Bucks. Wow. Phoenix, yeah, they're going up 3-1. The Pelicans are not going to win this game. And I just don't see the Pelicans any way winning this game. But if they do, hey, prove me wrong. Do your best and forget the rest. That's a famous quote. I don't know from where, but it's famous. But yeah, I do see Dallas winning this. Back to Dallas and Utah. I would love Dallas to win this series. I'm not a Dallas Mavericks fan. Again, I've always talked about this series. This is a people's series. Mavericks and Jazz, they are big teams, and 4-5. You know, it's going to be a big series. It's going to go to Game 7, and Doncic is going to pull up. Straight up, that's what's going to happen. I think Doncic is going to have the series he's always wanted to have. And talk about some of the bench players on Dallas, the way they're playing. Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, they have been unreal for the Dallas Mavericks, especially in the absence of Luka Doncic. And I know Doncic came back and Jazz won 1 point. You know, this is why I think this series is going to be so big. Because, you know, guys like Brunson and Dinwiddie, who were getting the big points, are now going to throw the ball to Luka, and all eyes are on him, right? So I do think that's where the Mavericks will lose one more game, and this will go to a decisive Game 7, but I see Dallas coming out at the end. What I change, I just want to give a little bit of, would I change any of my picks going into the next round? So I still have all my picks going the way they would, except for the Raptors. So really all I have is Philadelphia against Miami, and Milwaukee versus Boston. And Boston would be hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. I still have Milwaukee beating Boston. I still have that's a tough one, you know. I don't know if Miami can beat the 76ers. I'm going to say that they will, but that'll be a tough series for Miami, especially playing Atlanta in the first round. Atlanta's a big grinding team, so it's definitely going to be a tough series for Miami, especially since they're going to be tired as well. But hopefully Toronto can take some of the gas out of the 76ers and Miami can come away with the win. Then Dallas versus Phoenix. I'm going to keep it. Phoenix will still win against the Mavericks, even without Devin Booker. Don't call me out on that, but I think that'll still come true. Golden State now versus Minnesota, as they still had that happening, and I still think it will happen. Golden State will win that. And then the rest of my picks kind of follow because nothing really changed. But yeah, that's it for really the NBA. And this just in, oh my. So it looks like Joel Embiid, at the time of this video, I've just heard from Woj, you know, the Woj. He just said that Joel Embiid will require surgery to address the torn ligaments in his right thumb. But that procedure will not occur until after the Sixers season. So it sounds like Joel Embiid is going for it to just win it all this year. Because if you're going to risk a season-ending injury, maybe even a career-ending injury, you need your hands for basketball. Just to win a chip, like, you better be trying to win a championship and believe that you're going to win the championship if you're willing to do no surgery until the end of the season. So that's some big balls from Joel Embiid to be able to say, hey, we're going to go to the finals. We're going to win it. I'm going to have a surgery at the end of the year. I'm probably going to be out for half the season next year, but it would be worth it. If they don't end up beating the Raptors or beating Miami or whatever, that could be a bad career move from Joel Embiid. But only time will tell, I guess. My goodness, that's bad for Joel Embiid. I know Kyle Lowry came back and had surgery and he was okay. But I think Lowry only got the injury closer to the finals. I think he got the injury in the Milwaukee series and then sat out for a little bit and came back in the finals and was nursing that thumb just a little bit. Whereas Embiid is just playing through it. So it could get worse for Joel Embiid as opposed to Kyle Lowry in that case. But that's interesting to see. We're going to talk a little bit about the NHL and just possible matchups for the playoffs. So there's a couple matchups that could come out right now. And let's start with the Eastern Conference. So right now, Florida has won the Eastern Conference. They have, I believe, won the league. They haven't clinched the league, but they have won the Eastern Conference. So that's huge for Florida. Let's see what possible matchups could come out. So Florida will you know what? I'm just gonna give a standings kind of prediction, and I think that'll just correspond to what games are gonna be played. So here we go. Florida right now in first, Maple Leafs second, Tampa third. I don't think that'll change. I think Boston will not catch the Tampa Bay Lightning as much as they would probably like to. They probably have to win that. They don't play Tampa again this season, so Tampa will probably have to lose to Florida in order for Boston to catch them. But that means Boston has to beat Florida too. So that's going to be tough for them to do. So I think that stays. Carolina, Rangers, and Pittsburgh. I'm going to give a little bit of prediction here. I think the Rangers are going to win the division. I think the Rangers are a very, very good team right now, and they're showing it. Hey, they're showing they're a good team. And just take a look at the Carolina Hurricanes' upcoming schedule. They got the Islanders. They got the decisive game against the Rangers, which I think the Rangers are going to win, and then they play the Devils. The New York Rangers, on the other hand, let's check out them. Hello, New York Rangers. The Rangers end up playing, I think, the Islanders. Oh, no, they play the Hurricanes next, so that's their next game. So they have a lot of rest in between. Then they have a back-to-back against the Montreal Canadiens, which I think they'll win, and the Capitals, which is a tough game as well. So now looking at the schedule, I do think Carolina will hold on to it just because there's not a lot of time left to make up that schedule. I didn't really realize the teams they were playing. So I do think Carolina first, Rangers second, and Pittsburgh third. I don't think the Capitals will catch the Penguins, even though they're 2 points behind and have a game in hand. I think Washington's got too tough of a schedule to be able to do that. Plus, they got a big game tonight. They got to win, and I don't think they're going to win that. Leafs are going to come out on top. So then you got the first and second wildcard spot, Boston Bruins and Washington Capitals. All right. Now we move to the Western Conference. Colorado Avalanche versus Colorado Avalanche first, Minnesota second, St. Louis third. I'm going to flip-flop St. Louis second and Minnesota. And then the Pacific Division, Calgary first right now. They'll stay first. Edmonton second, Los Angeles Kings third. I mean, the Kings have already played 80 games. So Edmonton already having 2 games in hand, they're gonna keep that second spot. So that's the only reason I think. Yeah, they've won the Pacific, Calgary. So Calgary first, Edmonton second. Yeah, and Kings third. I don't think there's really anything changing. Vegas has basically bumped themselves out of a playoff spot, although if they win tonight, they go within 2 points of Dallas. So they're still in the race, but I just think they've lost too many times. I don't think it's possible. I'm sorry, Vegas. I think it's going to be the first year in your career, your first time in Vegas history that they will miss the playoffs. I think it's going to happen. I'm going to put Nashville first in the wild card and Dallas second. I'll keep it the same. I think, the Western Conference is going to stay exactly the same, except St. Louis will take the second spots to get home advantage, and Minnesota will take the third spot to get home or away ice. They will not get advantage over the St. Louis Blues. So that makes the first round the Florida Panthers, up against the Washington Capitals. Wow, that's some scary hockey. That'll be very interesting to see. I would love to see Florida against Washington. I think that could be a huge matchup. I think Florida would still win that series, to be honest, but we'll see when it comes. Carolina versus Boston. My goodness, that will probably be a 7-game series. Carolina will probably steal it. But I could see Boston coming away in that series. I mean, Boston's a playoff team. But then again, Freddie Anderson against Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman. I mean, who's going to win that battle? Frederick Anderson. You're goddamn right. Toronto Maple Leafs versus Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round series. Yeah, Tampa's winning that series. I'm sorry. I love my Maple Leafs, but I can't say that we're going to beat the Stanley Cup champs, 2-time Stanley Cup champs, not forgetting to mention, and then knock them out in the first round. No, that's not going to happen. So Tampa probably win that. Although Leafs could come out on top, we never know. Rangers and Pittsburgh, man, that's a good series. I'm gonna say the Rangers. Pittsburgh, Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang, Tristan Jarry. I don't know why I keep saying Tyson. Tristan Jarry, good team. Igor Shesterkin. All right. Probably going to be the Vezina winner this year. And then their packed defense, the Rangers, and their offense has been elite this year. I think the Rangers come out on top. Yeah. I would love to see the Rangers upset Pittsburgh. And this always seems to be a playoff series. They've been a playoff series in the past in like 2015, 16, 17, maybe in the 13, 14 years. Yeah, I would love to see that. And I think the Rangers would win it as well. Be great to see Pittsburgh actually lose something for once. Colorado against the Dallas Stars, right? Yeah. Colorado against the Dallas Stars. That's probably going to be the first sweep. Yeah, Dallas is not winning that series. Dallas does not play well against their own division. They play very well against the Pacific, and they've dominated against the Atlantic this year, and then the Metro, they've really kind of stunk it up. Yeah, I don't think Dallas would beat Colorado, maybe in any game. Like, I think that would be pretty fast. Nashville versus Calgary. That'd be very interesting hockey to watch. Calgary's a very good team, but man, can Nashville play hockey. And I think they played each other last year, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that would be a very fun series to watch. I would love Nashville to beat them, but Calgary, they have my vote this year. Especially with Jacob Markstrom and just the way they've played offensively. I think they're a little bit of a grittier team than Nashville. Roman Josi is the captain of their team. Yeah, he could definitely steal some games. But Calgary probably win that series in 6. And then Edmonton, LA. Kings have that playoff experience. Edmonton, kind of the new team on the rise. It's really a question if Connor McDavid and Draisaitl can come out on top and provide the offensive boost that Edmonton needs when the Kings bring the Thunder. That's really what it's going to come down to. Because Jonathan Quick is a playoff tendy. Cal Peterson has showed that too. Mike Smith, not been a good playoff goalie. Skinner, Koskinen, you lost me there. They have not been good playoff goalies. They're not even good regular season goalies. So until you can convince me that Edmonton could kill the Kings with offense and somehow find a way to squeak out every game 4 times, I see the Kings winning that series. I'm telling you, I don't see Edmonton winning that series. Especially since Edmonton in the play-in lost to the Blackhawks not that long ago, who were a playoff knowledgeable team. So there you go, Edmonton fans. You're not going to beat the Kings. St. Louis versus Minnesota. Yeah, I'd love to take St. Louis. They just have a bad track record against Minnesota. Me being a previous St. Louis fan, and I still kind of am at heart, but Minnesota, they got Fleury. They got Cam Talbot. Their defense is unreal. Their offense is pretty good. They got really good face-off numbers. St. Louis sure has Binnington, who's won a cup, and their defense is pretty good as well. And their offense is pretty well experienced in the playoffs. I see Minnesota changing the tide a little bit. They could have beaten Vegas last year, who ended up going to the conference finals. Minnesota's a good team on the rise. Minnesota's going to win this series, even if they don't have home ice. So that's what I believe would happen for the first rounds and the kind of playoff matchups for these teams. And we do have one last thing to sort of talk about today. If any of you are not aware, there's been a big case right now in the world on the entertainment side of Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp right now is in trial with his ex-wife Amber Heard, and this all is about a assault. Amber Heard